fancy.
You look great.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, you're in San Francisco?
Yeah, in San Francisco.
Were you born and raised there?
I'm from New Jersey, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah, I lived in San
Yeah.
Francisco for about 5 years.
Oh, cool.
2009-ish.
Yeah. I grew up in Jersey and been out here for like 12 years now.
Wow. Cool.
So, yeah.
So, how old are you? So, were you like out of high school and stuff when you moved to San Francisco?
Yeah, like college.
Oh, okay, cool. So, how did you get into music? Well, actually, tell me about growing up in New Jersey.
I mean, I feel like it's funny because if you tell people, especially out here, like in California, like, oh, I'm from New Jersey, they're like, oh man, that's like, it's people don't, there's not a lot of people out here. You don't meet a lot of people from New Jersey, or people kind of just like, there's a bit of a reputation just like about New Jersey. But I mean, I grew up in the suburbs, like I feel like it was any like growing up in any suburb, public high school, it could have been anywhere,
Sure.
Like I was in a band playing Fish covers, like that could have happened anywhere.
I was gonna say, I saw your Instagram. You have Jerry Garcia's board, like from his home studio and stuff. Like that's so crazy.
Yeah. I got that a little while ago at an auction at his stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, I
So
saw
I'm doing
that
I'm doing my next record on it.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So in Jersey, you said you're in bands and stuff. Growing up?
Yeah. I had kind of always. I mean, I had been playing in bands for a really long time. I mean, pretty much since like middle school or whatever. And made a record with my high school band. We had this funny thing in. There were a couple of years in this one high school, in my high school in New Jersey, where we had like a bit of like an alt country movement happening in the high school, where like everyone had gotten into like Uncle Tupelo and Wilco and like Whiskey Town, and like the Jayhawks and Lucinda Williams, and there was this like there were a couple different like alt country bands. So I was in one called the Honey Bandits, and we had some other friends in one, and we were all kind of these kids in New Jersey trying to write like folky country songs.
That's interesting. That's
which was
funny.
everyone kind of just started doing that one year. I know. It was.
When I think of Jersey, I think of like the emo bands, like the emo band movement.
Yeah.
Like, Saves a Day, and then even go down to like Long Island and some of those bands.
Yeah, I mean, those were definitely big. I feel like I kind of never did that. I feel like when that was all happening, I think I was just smoking pot and getting into the Dead and stuff. But then, people got folky my like junior year of high school, and that was like the cool thing to do, which was great for me.
Nice, yeah. So how did you get into music originally?
So I feel like growing up, we had like a turntable set up at home.
Oh, cool.
And I feel like the first thing I remember, like one of my really earliest memories, is hearing two records. One was Rubber Soul,
Beatles,
and the other was The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was pretty much it for like, it was like, cool, that's what I want. Like that's the coolest
to the best.
thing.
So
yeah, but it was the coolest thing I had ever heard. And I mean, something about it just blew my mind. I mean, there's still amazing records, and I still listen to those two all the time. But those are probably the first time I remember hearing something. And I mean, I was probably 4 or 5, and just being obsessed. Just I couldn't get enough of it. It was the coolest thing I had ever heard. And then I had, bugged my parents for a guitar for a long time. And then when I was like 10 or 11, they finally got me one. And, been playing music ever since.
Did you take lessons or anything, or just kind of?
Yeah, I had a couple teachers, and they were pretty cool. It was fun. You like get to, they were all cool because you could like they would pick you song, or you would pick songs with them. So it'd be like, oh, I really like this one art. So you could get into a band
Oh, that's
and
really
or so
cool.
you could get really into a band, and then they would
Yeah.
just like kind of help you work out the songs. Like I remember I was in like middle school, and I was actually telling someone the story the other day that like within like the same day, I had this like one teacher in middle school who laid on me Crooked Rain by Pavement, the Beta Band 3 EPs, Soundgarden Super Unknown, like this like crazy block
Super
of
like,
music, like
yeah,
so much
grungy.
stuff. Yeah, but like so much stuff in like one moment. And it's like you just take those CDs home, and like I think it was like when people were, we were burning CDs, and so just like
Yeah,
someone could hand you just a stack of CDs, and those are the records you're going to care about forever. Like
sure.
I didn't realize it at the time. I was like, oh, this is just music I will be obsessed with for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And so it was cool. You would take those CDs home and then just go listen to them and learn how to play them and stuff.
That's really cool. So you could come back and say, "Oh, I want to learn this Pavement song." And
Yeah, yeah, and like going through it and stuff like that.
nice. When did you start writing music?
I feel like I always kind of tried to. I mean, I still feel like I still try to do it. I feel like I didn't really get it. Didn't really start clicking in probably until like my early 20s, where I could like really sit and just kind of. I mean, I was writing songs in high school, and like I had made a record then, but it was very, we were still very figuring it out, and I didn't have much of a process. And then I feel like in my 20s, I started really getting a little bit more comfortable with kind of my style, or putting songs together. And then that's kind of when I really started being able to intentionally do it,
Mhm.
and actually work on it as a thing. And then really, I mean, I'd say it's still really hard. I mean, it's still like the hardest thing I
Sure.
do. But I feel like it's getting more rewarding and it's more fun. Um, just because now you do it enough times, or you feel better about it. It's still fucking magic every time it happens.
Yeah.
Like when you can actually put something together, like I like this, and I feel like it works, and it's like solving a puzzle, and you don't know any of the pieces or what it's supposed to look like at the end.
Sure, sure. That's awesome. So with that, so you moved out to San Francisco. Did you move out here to go to school, or just moved
Yeah,
out
yeah.
here
So
to
I came out for college, and um, you know, being from the East Coast, like California is this kind of like magical place a little bit. Just because it's as far away as you could possibly be. So,
sure.
and you read about it, and I remember like being in high school and reading like Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, and be like, oh man, I got to see what's going on in San Francisco. It's like, well, you're you know 40 years too late, man. But there is an element of just being out here. It was always kind of a destination a little bit, California.
Mhm. That's cool. And when you got out here, is that when you started just because you're just a solo project, right? You're just
So
putting
this
stuff
one
out as
is, yeah,
yourself.
this record is the first one I had done by myself. I was in a band a couple years ago, like more of a pop kind of band. And that was kind of my first time really like I had played like open mics and stuff myself, but then when I got into this band, we were called the Tropics, and then we changed our name to Heartwatch because we got sued. Um, we had made a few records, and
So you did enough to get sued.
yeah, we did
You got
enough to get
recognized
sued.
enough. Yeah.
Totally, which is like it's a funny moment when that happens.
Sure.
And so we
Well,
ended
tell
up
me
changing.
about that. Do you mind?
No,
That's
no,
really
it's fine.
interesting.
So it's fine. So I was in this band. We were in a San Francisco band. We were kind of more like an indie pop kind of thing. And we started off as the Tropics, and we did pretty well. Like we made our first record under that name, and we had been kind of getting bigger and booking bigger shows. We had booked the Outside Lands Festival out here, which is like
Wow. Yeah, that's
which
huge.
was like a big festival. And like
Yeah, that's
right around that time, pretty much exactly when that happened, we had gotten this like cease and desist from this DJ named Tropics, and there had been some back and forth for a while. And when we had gotten to the point where we had a lawyer because we were a band. We were putting out records, and we
mhm,
were um,
doing stuff. Yeah.
we were doing stuff, and so we learned a lot about the whole process, just about what that all is. But yeah, basically it comes down to, if someone has a lawyer and they really want to bug you about it, they can. And then you kind of have the decision of like, all right, is this how I want to spend our time and our money? Because it's expensive, and it's just hard. It's a weird thing. I feel terrible for bands that have to do stuff like that, and it's really hard, and it's really challenging. Also, because picking a name sucks. Like in general, like it's like the one of the, unless you really feel passionate about it, it's very hard to do. And when you're in a group too, and now the group kind of wants to decide. It's
everybody's
just
opinion has to.
It's a whole thing. So that was a funny process. So we did that, and then changed our name, and then continued on for like a year and a half. We did a second record under that name, and then we split up in 2016.
So when that band kind of dissolved, that's when you started putting stuff out yourself, or started writing stuff yourself?
Yeah, for like the year after that, I kind of didn't, maybe not the year, but definitely like 6 months after that, I was pretty messed up about it. Like I definitely didn't play guitar for like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
I definitely couldn't like write any songs or anything. And then towards the end of that year, I did a song this like, okay. So I don't want to say I had like writer's block, but I definitely wasn't sitting down and working on music, and I was kind of afraid to. I was a little depressed after the band had broken up.
Sure.
And so to get myself back into writing and get back into playing, I just kind of picked a topic, and I tried to write as many songs as I could about like one topic. And so I wrote this like entire like concept album about alien abductions.
Oh, wow.
And there are a lot of different, so I basically said, I'm going to write as many songs as I could about this one topic. And it was silly, but it got me just kind of moving a little more, and just like kind of brought back some of the fun of it. And then I actually recorded one of those songs and put it out in 2017. So one of the songs from that record, that of alien songs, it was like the first thing I had ever like released at all, kind of just like from me. And then but this EP was like my first, the one that just came out, was like my first time really like deliberately saying, okay, this is like a serious record that I'm making as myself, and doing it.
Okay. And this is the record you worked on it with a big producer, didn't you? Somebody that had a Grammy Award and stuff.
Yeah, so Damien, he did he produced the records. He produced the second record I was for the band I was in before, for the Heartwatch album. And so we met during that, and then him and I had become good friends. And he did the alien song too. We worked on that together too. Cool. So him and I have really, we've worked on a lot of projects together, and so we're really good friends. And he's he's a really great person to work with. I don't think I would have even gotten my shit together to go do a record in general. Like, he was the kind of person who was like, hey man, we should really go do this. Like I know you have songs, like, come on man, like let's get a solo album together. And so he was really encouraging, and him and I played all the instruments on the record. So it was a really cool process. It was just the two of us, banging out these songs.
Was that
but yeah, it was a cool time.
Putting out that first song on your own, was that kind of terrifying? Or was it just kind of whatever?
No, when I did the one a couple years ago, it was really kind of just for myself. The way I see it, like, that first one was really just to prove to myself actually that I could work in a studio again, and like have an idea for a thing and execute it. It's hard to explain, but I'm sure you've had this at some point where like you kind of get in your own head a little bit of like, I even do this? Like, is this something I want to do, or do I enjoy doing it? Or like, what's the point of it? Cause like, it's expensive, and it's hard, and it's challenging. And, I'm only recently being a little more confident, like in my playing and my songwriting. And so for that one, it was really just like, all right, let's just have as much fun as possible and make something for yourself. And that's kind of been since that has kind of been, anytime I go into the studio, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna have as much fun as humanly possible and not think about like who's gonna end up hearing this or what they're gonna think about it, and just kind of do what feels good. And because of that, I mean, that's definitely that was the mentality with this new record, because I wasn't thinking about it while I was making it, because I wasn't thinking about what it was going to be. I didn't have the name of it. I didn't even have the name for most of the songs as we were recording them. And I was very much writing as we were recording. I wasn't thinking about it as an album. I wasn't thinking about it as a solo record. I wasn't thinking about it as does it, represent me in this moment? And because I wasn't thinking about all that, it did all of those things, right? It it totally captured who I am in that moment and what I was feeling and what was going on with me. And I think just, because I wasn't in my own head about it, I could finally do it.
That's amazing. You said earlier when you have the album that you have that new board from Jerry Garcia's.
Yeah. So I'm doing demos on that now. And then I think what we're trying to do, so that one's going to be a little different, because that we're going to like bring a band in and like do the whole band, probably like more of a live kind of feel. And we're going to probably like set it up in a house.
And that's going to be all with new material?
Yeah, new material. I'm working on it now. I've got a few new songs and starting to work on it. It's definitely coming out a little like, I feel like Rookie was kind of like all in. Like, I feel like sometimes when I'm in the studio, I can like, because if it's just me, I feel like my nature is just like, oh, let's put like, it's like an ice cream sundae, right? It's like, oh, I'll put as many toppings as you'll let me do on there, And so I feel like with this, and I'm so happy with the record, but there are certain times where I'm like, man, did you need all those guitars on there? Or like, did you need, like, it's just like really, in there. And I love that about it, because it was very much just like in the moment what we chose to do. I think this one is going to be a little more like live band feeling. And I feel like the songs are maybe a little folkier. I got a new guitar like right after there was a guitar that I played in the studio that I like was crazy about. And so I sold my other guitar like right after, and I bought like that exact one because I was crazy about it, and just started like writing a ton of songs on it. And so a lot of these songs were like written on this new guitar and like this acoustic, and so they have this kind of like a little more folkier kind of thing that I'm working on.
Is that the guitar that you played in that live stream? I saw you did like a live video.
Yeah, I have it.
Facebook.
I've got it right here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's right here. But that was cool. So I'm always kind of working on new stuff, and I feel like I'm just kind of going into it a little differently, just for the next one.
Or do you plan on touring at all solo?
Yeah, well, we were working on dates, and then all hell kind of broke loose.
Yeah, and you're in the worst of it. And
well, no, New York is now,
but as far as California goes,
oh, totally, yeah.
We're in San Diego, just
sure,
south, but it's not nearly what it is like you guys.
Yeah, I mean, because everything kind of locked down here really quickly. Pretty much like, I think like right like March 7th or something. Yeah. So I had done the record release on the 29th, and we had this really, really fun show, and we were working on some other dates, and then kind of everything disappeared. Sure. So I don't know. I think my kind of thinking is trying to stay inside, write some songs, stay healthy. And then once like the smoke clears, try to get some dates together. But yeah, we've got this band that I really enjoy playing with. And that's been really nice to kind of play with the band again and really kind of stretch out and stuff. And so, yeah, I'd absolutely love to get on the road again a little bit, especially, I mean, at least do like the West Coast and San Diego, LA. Yeah. We were kind of working on some stuff there, and then everything kind of dried up.
Sure. Have you toured on your own?
I have not by myself. No.
Oh, okay.
So that would be really fun to do.
Yeah. Did you tour in the other band you were in?
Oh yeah. We did. We were in San Diego 2 or 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did the House of Blues once.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
then
that's
this
a
other,
fairly big room.
yeah, we were opening, we were on this tour with Miss Mister and Jack Garrett.
Oh, okay. I know
Um,
Miss Mister.
yeah, we were on tour with them once, and we played there. And then there's this other place I can't remember, but it was a weird San Diego night. The show was, I think it was a Sunday, and there was also a music, like a electronic music festival on the beach, like on the same night, and
Oh my gosh.
it was that was a rough one. They're not always fun. That's the one thing about touring is like it's hard. It's really making records is really fun, and but and touring is great while while you're playing, and but it is really hard.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, do you, our last question really is, do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Advice for, I mean, I feel like an aspiring artist. Um I think the thing that I'm working through now, or the thing that I think I would pass on a couple things. Like, one is the more you do it, like truly just like keep writing stuff or keep playing. I mean, it sounds really cliche. I mean, but most advice is cliche anyway. It does go a long way, just in terms of like you getting comfortable. I feel like the sooner you can get comfortable with yourself and get over the like, oh, what is this person going to think of this song? Or does this song sound like a different song? Or does this song sound like this genre or whatever? Like, get over that stuff as fast as possible, because that stuff's crazy. But yeah, the sooner you can get over that and just kind of like keep doing it goes a really long way. That, and fuck, get better at like the social media side. That's the worst, but I feel like that's like the thing that people have to really do now. And I don't know, that's the hardest part. I know I'd love someone to teach me that, but but yeah, I think just be cool with your, I mean, it's that goes like everything else. Sorry, my cat hit the computer.
It's okay.
Hey, out of here. Yeah, as soon as you're hey, as soon as you're cool with yourself, it's gonna go a lot better, so
Sure.
try to do that as fast as possible.